Judge, overall now, in the future, what do we hold for the Astrodome?
This will be the greatest concert hall in the world. It's the greatest convention hall in the world. It's the greatest exhibition hall in the world. And by all means, it's the greatest sports facility or entertainment facility that anyone has ever conceived.
The date is April 9th, 1965. You're walking from your car to a massive new stadium. You get to your seat inside of the stadium and look around. 67,925 fans are jam-packed to watch an exhibition game between the Houston Astros and the New York Yankees. The President of the United States has even turned up for the event to see the eighth wonder of the world on its opening day. 56 years later, and the Astrodome sits as a rotting shell of its former self. The Oilers left in 1996 and the Astros left in 1999. The stadium can't be torn down because it's now on the National Register of Historic Places, but it's going to take hundreds of millions of dollars in renovations to make it viable again. What's going to happen to the Astrodome? That is the $1 million, or should I say $100 million question. The Astrodome is too much of a Houston icon for it to be torn down, but until a private citizen is willing to put up the money needed to renovate the stadium, nothing is going to be done. Every few years, an idea gets floated to turn the stadium into a park, apartments, and even a 250-screen movie theater, but nothing solid has come from these ideas. Soon after the stadium's closure in 2009, Houston launched a bid to host the 2012 Olympics. One interesting aspect of this plan was to use the Astrodome as a main event stadium. The bid was serious enough for the U.S. Olympic Committee to make it a finalist, but New York City was ultimately chosen to represent the U.S., which ultimately lost to the London 2012 game bid. The second plan to reopen the Astrodome has to be my favorite. A local group was set up named Astrodome Studios with the hope of turning the massive stadium into a movie studio. The group drew up diagrams that included sound stages, office and studio space, a museum, restaurant, and even a fitness center. The plan ultimately fell through, leaving the Houston dream of a movie studio left to rot with the dome itself. Astrodome City Park was the next concept that seemed to have a real chance of viability. The plan called for leaving the roof of the Astrodome in place and converting the massive playing surface area into a city park-style space that could be used for the rodeo, festivals, and concerts. Additional changes to the structure were to build restaurants, conference rooms, and educational areas to teach kids about engineering. The plan went to a voter referendum, but it was ultimately rejected, leaving the Astrodome to sit even longer. The most recent plan came when the Harris County Commissioners Board approved a plan for the floor of the Astrodome to be raised and a massive parking structure to be built on the underground level of the dome. The second floor playing surface would remain intact for future recreational space. The plan moved forward and was bolstered by the decision on January 27, 2017 to make the Astrodome a state landmark. Construction was set to begin in October of 2018 with the goals to be complete by 2020. When new judge Lena Hidalgo was elected, she chose to scrap the proposal and use the money to focus on more pressing issues with the city of Houston instead. Ultimately, no work was performed on the stadium, and it has continued to sit much as it has since 2009. The only major changes since 2009 to the stadium have been the closure and demolition of the ramp access to the stadium and the removal of every single indoor seat inside the stadium. With only minimal repair work being done to keep the structure from falling in on itself, it truly is a sad sight to see. This leaves us to the year 2021. The Astrodome still sits quietly waiting for a savior. My hope for the structure is to be saved and repurposed into some kind of venue for the entire city of Houston to enjoy. Whatever the city decides to do, the Astrodome will always be remembered as a shining beacon of ingenuity of engineering and a source of pride for anyone who calls Houston home. The Astrodome is now a shining beacon of our archive of everything. Subscribe for more videos just like this one, leave a like if you enjoyed, and comment for future video ideas. As always, this has been Matt from the Archive of Everything, and I'll see you all real soon.